I've said it 100 times, and I'll say it 1,000 more times. Fighting is the most volatile sport in the world, be it boxing, MMA, or anything combat sport related. There's always a Hail Mary punch or a home run submission just waiting in the wings. In this video, we'll take a look at some of those rare occurrences that happen. Here are 1% moments in fighting. Number 20. We'll start things off with one of my personal favorite things, the double knockdown. This one happened to also be a double knockout, though it may have been ruled otherwise. In fighting, it's important to remember that defense is equally as important as offense. These two left their defense in their corners and decided to trade it out. This resulted in both of them taking some serious damage, and a moment that isn't really cut out for their highlight reels. Number 19. Sportsmanship is ubiquitous in MMA, but this is some next-level stuff for sure. The fighter on top secures mount position, and rather than jumping on his first opportunity to attack, he helps his opponent place his mouth guard back in his mouth. Wins are great, but I think we can all commiserate with someone having to pay for dental work. That stuff's not cheap. This is one of the coolest MMA moments I've seen in the past few years. Number 18. Never in my life have I seen a referee so prepared for something so unlikely. In this Muay Thai match, the two athletes traded blows and they both went down. The referee, without hesitation, begins a dual 10 count for both of the fallen fighters. I hope this ref got a raise, or became the CEO of the organization, or got a key to whatever city he's from. This is some next-level reffing, and the type of stuff I'd love to see more of. It's hard. Number 16. Most of you should be familiar with Leon Edwards, but how about Fabian Edwards? Fabian fights in Bellator and has put together quite the highlight video for himself. One of his most exciting finishes was against Falco Neto. Edwards, fighting off of his back, drove 3 kicks up into his opponent's face and rocked him. Edwards then got up and put the finishing touches on his opponent and walked away with the dub. Khamzat Chimaev is irrefutably a different breed of fighter. Like seriously, just watch this. He halfway locks in this choke, adjusts his mouthpiece, goes back for the choke, makes all the adjustments he needs to, and then finishes. This is some of the most nonchalant badassery I've ever seen in my life. Chimaev is easily one of the scariest humans alive right now. I'd recommend you all to check out some of his other fights. Number 12. Michael Venom Page is the most unpredictable striker in my opinion. This dude taunts, dances, and fights all very well. Seen here is MVP throwing and landing a tornado kick. This is a very low percentage kick to land. MVP made it work though. This kick landed on his overwhelmed opponent and sent him tumbling. Rather than chasing the finish, Page just stood there and didn't move. This was a cold move by him. Great job. Cap. An injury I've never seen before in my years of watching MMA. Page has also caved in someone's skull, but we've seen that before. This is really fresh. We wish you a speedy recovery, Yamauchi. Number 10. Okay, back to the tornado kicks. This technique is so sick and lands as perfectly as possible in this fight. This was just seconds into the second round, and the recipient walked right into it. Perfect timing, or the worst timing, depending who you ask from this fight. This couldn't have gone any better for the man who took a risk and threw this technique. Number 9. I'm not done talking about double knockdowns. Let's look at another. This one is like me if fighting your reflection resulted in actual action rather than a broken mirror. Trust me, the mirror might be broken, but it wins every time. Both fighters throw the same punch at the same time and get the same result from it. Not so fun for the fighters, but these moments will always be cool enough to get the entire venue out of their seats. Number 8. What in the WWE happened here? This guy got hit so hard, he factory reset into a professional gymnast. This dude did some top-tier acrobatics while wearing boxing gloves. I don't care how good I am at fighting, if I saw someone doing this mid-scrap, I'd go outside, find a payphone, if those still exist, call my coach, and ask him to throw in the towel. Number 7. 1% might be an overstatement for this one. Hitting a Boston Crab submission in an MMA fight is very, very improbable. The matchmaker must have had a thing out for the guy on the bottom here. Not entirely sure how this guy didn't see the walls of Jericho coming, but I'm sure he's never called wrestling fake again after this. Maybe this guy dropped a boxing class and spends a few hours a week watching Chris Jericho footage before he signs up for another fight. Number 6. How to counter a crucifix? How about another crucifix? I love it when things like this happen. It reminds me of that time that the dude defended being in a buggy choke by attacking with his own buggy choke. Anyway, this was pretty cool, and ever the two fighters had to acknowledge that this was a unique and funny situation. Number 5. Speaking of unique situations, reverse triangles are a pretty rare submission. So is seeing Jorge Masvidal lose by something other than a controversial split decision. However, we see both rarities here. Toby Imada was able to lock in this choke, and Masvidal stood up. Gamebred lost consciousness and collapsed over, and that was all she wrote. Whether you're Team Jorge or you hate him, everyone has to admit that this is a sick win, and it aged beautifully for Toby. Number 4. Rose Namajunas is my personal favorite fighter in the world right now, so please, nobody leave any comments about her last fight. However, you should drop a comment and let us know if you're liking the video. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't yet. Make sure you never miss another one. But yeah, back to the action. Rose Namajunas and her opponent clashed right when the fight started. Namajunas clinched, leaped in the air, and locked in a flying armbar. Just 12 seconds into the fight, her opponent was forced to tap out or face serious damage to her arm. Flying submissions are the coolest. That's written in the Jiu-Jitsu handbook. So when you get to see stuff like this, it's worth talking about for the entirety of one's career. So Rose, I gotcha. Number 3. Victor Ortiz and Floyd Mayweather. What a controversial bout. So Ortiz, a bit heated, leaped into Mayweather and headbutted him. This is dirty boxing, but Ortiz was immediately apologetic. So apologetic, he forgot to defend himself. Am I siding with Floyd here? Absolutely not. But I also just don't personally like the guy, so my interpretation of his career isn't fair. Mayweather hits Ortiz with a two-piece as Ortiz was trying to apologize. This knocked Ortiz out and led to Larry Merchant calling out Mayweather. Number 2. Speaking of defend yourself at all times, this is just chaotic. So Harut Grigorian wins the first round, and in round 2 must have thought the round was over, so he just walked away. Groenhart, still on the clock, decided to continue working. He planted a punch on his opponent and slept him. Then a fight broke out in the cage and it was all downhill. However, this was indeed a legal knockout, albeit a very confusing one. Number 1. And for one of the rarest, most 1% moments in combat sports, here's the referee blindly walking into a knockout shot. This is as unfortunate as it is unlikely. However, it happened, and it's my job to make sure that this footage gets seen by as many people as possible. Sorry, ref. Well, that does it for the video. Again, make sure you leave a like. We do appreciate it. Subscribe and hit the bell icon to make sure you never miss out on any future videos. Anything you want to see next? Drop a comment and let us know. Thanks again for watching. Until next time.